right, so WrestleMania 31. I finally got to watch it. It just wouldn't work on a different site. But anyway, it took place on March 29th, 3/29, 88th day of the year. And it was at Levi's Stadium. It says Santa Clara, but that's actually in the San Francisco Bay Area. So, and Levi's Stadium is also the new stadium of the San Francisco 49ers. So anyway, I'm just going to go off right here. Levi's Stadium. So, well, first off, the stadium was named after Levi Strauss. Born on February 26th, which is the first day of Lupercalia, and he died at age 73. You know, go figure, just like all the other celebrities and whatnot. But also, okay, so, I mean, I get it. The 49ers, it's their new stadium, and that's probably why the address is 4900 Marie P. whatever. So, but, I mean, interesting anyway. 4900 is the address. It says Executive Suites 176. That is 88 plus 88. The record attendance was 76,976 on WrestleMania 31. It also says here that it's scheduled to host Super Bowl 50 on February 7th, 2016. So pretty interesting. They built this new stadium, and it's all about 49, and then the Super Bowl is going to be there next year. And then WrestleMania is all about 49. So obviously, because it was in the San Francisco Bay Area, that's why. But there's things that they do that it's so subliminal you don't even realize it. So anyway, let's get back to that. So just read here. This is how they get you. And most people never look this up. And it's so ridiculous. So the show broke the attendance record at Levi's Stadium by 6,177 and blah, 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 blah. Well, so I thought, all right, 6,177. Is that a prime number? And I looked it up, and it's actually not a prime number. But look at the factors of it. 3, 29, and 71. It was on 3/29. Literally, March 29th. 3/29. What are the odds of that? That they broke the attendance record by 6,177, and if you factor it, the factors are 3, 29, and 71. Come on, 71. If you're wondering about 71, then there's 3, 29, and 71. Well, 71 is 71 in its mirror is 88. 71 is also 44 years ago, and WrestleMania happened on 44 days after the first day of Lupercalia, February 13th. So then I typed in 3/29/1971 to see if there's anything significant. I don't know. It looks like something with Sierra Leone, blah blah blah. But I keep scrolling here, and then I started seeing a bunch of stuff about the Golden Shot, and so I clicked on that, and it must have been some TV show. But anyway, the Golden, right? I've been talking about that with 49 Golden Shot. And the original air date was 4/4/1971, Season 3, Episode 29. The show even came out in 1967, so I talked about 67, and they're 45 minutes long, and then just on here, the rating was 6.4 from 22 users. I mean, what are the odds that you type in one thing and it comes up with everything? I'm not looking for it. It's there every time. Okay, so the very beginning here of WrestleMania, you have Aloe Black singing the national, or America the Beautiful is what he's singing. And he was born in 1979, so there's a 22 reference. You just kind of read through here. It says he performed vocals on Wake Me Up, which charted at #1 in 22 countries. I don't want to fill up all the time, so I'm sure there's a bunch more 22s probably around this guy. Anyway, let's go back to WrestleMania. Then you have LL Cool J right after that talking about basically introing it and saying how all the universe is connected and we're all connected by the universe, bringing in all this new age stuff. And I wish I could find it. I know it's on my external hard drive that I cannot get to work, which is very depressing. It has all my old music on it. But LL Cool J, when I remember Christopher Dorner, and I typed in Wikipedia on Wikipedia Christopher Dorner, and it actually took me to LL Cool J, and I took a screenshot of it, and it literally says LL Cool J, but it says redirected to Christopher Dorner, which I don't know. Doesn't have to mean much, but it's pretty funny. But anyway, just saying he was talking about the universe. I'm going to move on to WrestleMania, more stuff. So then the very first match, you have Daniel Bryan, the guy I talked about multiple times where he said he wanted to wrestle Jesus. Last year he's the Antichrist character or whatever. He wins the Intercontinental Championship belt. And they talk about how he has a headbutting match on this ladder right before he gets the belt. And they talk about, you can't headbutt the GOAT. You can't headbutt the GOAT because the GOAT will always win. And Baphomet is associated with the Sabbatic goat. He is the goat. That's what it's connected to Satanism and all kinds of stuff. They totally secretly hide it, even in wrestling, which is just ridiculous. But moving on. Actually, I forgot one of the key things I was going to talk about with Daniel Bryan. So his signature thing is yes, 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 right? So he says yes all the time. That's what people scream. Well, yes adds up to 49. So everyone's screaming basically 49, 49, 49 this whole time when he's winning. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, I tell you what, even just watching the announcers, not even just this, it's so much like I feel like I'm watching the Hunger Games because it's so ridiculous. If you really watch it, it's so ridiculously set up. Even all the announcers and all kinds of stuff, even the Charles Barkley and everything on TNT. It's so set up. If you just really watch it, it's ridiculous. So the second match was Randy Orton. Well, the second match at least that was aired or whatever. There was the Big Show thing before, but anyway, Randy Orton beats Seth Rollins, and then later on at the end of the night, Seth Rollins uses his Money in the Bank, and he actually becomes the World Heavyweight Champion, and then that's how it ends. But earlier in the night, the second match, Randy Orton defeats Seth Rollins, and I just wanted to right now pull up, because there wasn't that much significant things about it, so I kind of just wanted to pull up I just added up the names of all the winners of the matches. And so Randy Orton actually adds to 144 and 54, which is love, the reverse of 45, and 144, Chicago, Illinois, I talked about that, adding up to that, and also April 4th adds up to 144. And then Seth Rollins, like I said, he ends up being the World Heavyweight Champion at the end of the night, and his name adds up to 151, which Valentine's Day adds up to 151 as well. I'll just talk about the rest of them here. And then, Daniel Bryan, he just won. Nothing too crazy about it. Triple H, though. He's Triple H. H is the 8th letter, so he's 888. And I know I made a video a long time ago. I've said it before, but it was about last year at WrestleMania, and there was a few videos after that. But anyway, Triple H actually adds to 88. I mean, really, I can't believe I never looked that up before or whatever. Then John Cena wins. Don't know. Doesn't show me much here, but I haven't really went and looked that in depth into some of these wrestlers. And then the Undertaker, he came back and he won, and he lost last year, so he was 21-1, the 211, the 22. But this year he actually wins, so he's 22-1, so still a 22 reference. But interesting that Undertaker actually adds up to 45 and 54, so the mirrored numbers of love, and then 117. And I'll get to that in a little bit, which I've found something pretty interesting about 117. It's, 11-7, 77. But anyway, I'm going to go on with WrestleMania here. Okay, so the next match, it's where they bring out all the big subliminal stuff. You got Triple H versus Sting, and it's basically like the WCW versus the WWE match. And WCW is 49, 23, 3, and 23. And then he wrestles Triple H. But anyway, sorry, I was just trying to think. I can't remember if I actually made a video about Sting or if I just watched the movie and I wrote it down. But Sting is actually, he actually came into wrestling with the Ultimate Warrior. And, oh man, there's a whole movie on him about how he quit wrestling and became a born-again Christian and all this other stuff. I don't know if I made a video on it. I'm going to go back and look. So here we go. I just wrote it out here. WCW is 49-13. WWE is actually 51-15. So, if you add them up, they're mirrors. It's 66. Also, W is either 23 or 5, and E is 5, so it's 555. And I did a whole bunch of stuff about the triple fives actually being a 6. And it used to be WWF even, so whatever. Anyway, so basically, the 49 actually loses to the 888, or the 49 loses to the 66 or the 555. Also, Triple H wins, and Triple H is 45 years old this year. Anyway, so Sting comes out, does his intro. Check out Triple H's intro. They even show the Golden Gate Bridge and then an explosion right after it. Just found that pretty interesting. I'm just going to play the clip here. So Golden Gate Bridge. And then they show it blowing up. That doesn't mean that they're going to false flag it or anything, but it's pretty interesting. It's all about 49 and whatnot. But see, what they're doing is a Terminator Genesis thing. And Terminator Genesis actually takes place in San Francisco. And there's a big scene on the Golden Gate Bridge even. So here's Triple H in his whole Terminator getup or whatever. Just wanted to point that out. That's why they showed the Golden Gate Bridge and it exploding, though. Kind of interesting. And I'm going to show you the part of the trailer to this Terminator movie. So, of course, the movie's about time travel. Also, what I found interesting, the way they spell Genesis actually adds to 98, which is 49 and 49. And here's a little scene of it, just to show you that they're on the Golden Gate Bridge or whatever in part of the movie. And then, it says here the movie comes out on July 1st, 2015. But anyway, you notice he's back. And he says, I'll be back or whatever. But now it says he's back. Well, that's exactly what Michael Jordan said when he came back from retirement in 95. He said 2 words, I'm back or whatever. which is interesting. It's 105 days. It was on March 18th when he said, "I'm back." Michael Jordan did. And this is 105 days later when this movie is supposed to come out. So, I don't know. Anyway, though, also, there's another "I'm back" thing. And here, I'll show it to you. It's freezing up bad. Okay, made his turn to the WWE on Raw the next night. And literally, he came out a heel by attacking Daniel Bryan and Dolph for their rematch, or after their match, and was sporting a new mohawk hairstyle. He simply said, "I'm back" on the mic, and repeated this in a tweet after the segment. So they're doing the whole mic thing. I mean, are we doing? Also, Sheamus is 37 years old, which makes it even more interesting. And red hair, Tribe of Dan, and then on, and he says, "WrestleMania, Judgment Day is here." And then he takes off his eyes, and he's got the red glowing eyes, you know, the demonic possession. I mean, well, they want you to think it's a robot, but... So right here, Sting has Triple H in the... I don't even know what move it is, but basically, Triple H is going to lose to Sting. But then at 1:14, so 11:4 or 44, Degeneration X that Triple H is in comes out to help him or whatever. So you got DX, so they're the time, they're the X. They do the, you know, they do the X suck it or whatever. So literally the time actually defeats Sting in the New World Order, which is kind of weird. I don't understand the logic, I guess, but I'll show you that in a second here. But I just thought it was interesting. It's 11:4 that this happens, that the DX comes out. And Triple H, I also talked about, he's the 888, so he is the false Christ. And I know I talked about something like that a long time ago, so just pointing that out really quick. And wouldn't you know, since Sting was losing, all of a sudden, the New World Order comes out to help him, to help Sting. But look when they come out, 1 hour and 17 minutes into it. That's when they come out. And that's 11:7 or 7:11. That's when that's actually 9:11. And the New World Order. Hold on, I'll talk about it. All right, and then remember the big George Bush Senior, George Bush Senior speech on September 11th, 1990, exactly 11 years before 2001, when he talked about moving towards a new world order. I mean, come on. And then they bring him out. They literally bring him out at 7:11, which is actually, or 1:17, but 7:11 backwards, which is actually a 9/11 reference. And then, I mean, just craziness. And it's kind of funny because you got like Hulk Hogan in here, and even on his Twitter, he even tags himself as HH, so 88. So the NWO actually has an 88 in it. Triple H adds to, or Triple H is 45 years old and adds to 88. So and basically what happens is Triple H ends up winning the match. So the New World Order actually loses, but then he like shakes hands with Sting or whatever, and like almost like they're working together, you know. So you got time, and then you have the NWO, and then they fight, but then they're working together kind of thing. And then as they're walking in, they keep mentioning they mention like 3 or 4 times, "I feel like I'm in a time machine," because the New World Order hasn't been out forever, and then you got DX, and they're all old or whatever. But he keeps mentioning, "Yeah, you're right. I think we got in a time machine or whatever." It's so funny. Oh, I forgot to mention too, the term New World Order actually wasn't from George Bush. It says one of the first and most well-known Western uses of the term was in Woodrow Wilson's 14 Points, and in a call for a league of nations. Well, I'll talk about Woodrow Wilson here in a minute because he actually shows up again in the John Cena thing. But anyway, the League of Nations, actually the committee met in San Francisco in April of 1945. And so, like what it says here is the phrase "the New World Order" was explicitly used in connection with Woodrow Wilson's global zeitgeist during the period just after World War I, during the formation of the League of Nations. So, but then you read down here a little bit farther, and it says the term fell from use when it became clear the League of Nations, or the League, was not living up to the over-optimistic expectation, and blah 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 here. And then it says they didn't use it anymore, although some have claimed the phrase was not used at all. Virginia Gildersleeve, the sole female delegate to the San Francisco Conference in April 1945, did use it in an interview with the New York Times. I mean, so why is that even put in here, you know? But anyway, it goes with 1945, and this lady used the term. And funny, well, she died on 7/7, 49 years ago. It will be 50 on 7/7 this year, but it's still 49 years ago. Also, I'm just going to throw this in here really quick. The Bohemian Club is actually in San Francisco. So, I mean, kind of interesting. I'm not even going to go in that in depth with it. Also, I know I did videos a while back, but about Mark Twain and time travel, and he even has a movie called 88 Days or something like that, and I haven't been able to find it. I want to watch it and actually see what it's all about, but it's hard to find online. But Mark Twain actually moved to San Francisco. Yeah, he moved there in 1864, and he met writers such as Bret Hart. Really, come on. And he may have romanced Ina Coolbrith. I did videos on her, Gertrude Atherton, and then I even did a video on Bret Hart at one point. I know I did, not that long ago even, because it was all with the Valentine stuff. And he even talks about his first success as a writer came from whatever. It was published in the New York Weekly, the Saturday Press, on November 18th. So there's your 88, 1865. And if you go by years, like in 1915, it would have been 49 years before that. And that's how they do it. It's just every 100 years, I think, they do these significant things or whatever. And then a year later, he traveled to the Sandwich Islands, which I just talked about. The guy died on Valentine's Day or whatever. Oh, yeah, and look, Bret Hart died on May 5th, 5/5. Another interesting thing about the 117 or the 711 is in the King James Bible, Psalm 117 is actually the shortest of all 150 Psalms, and it is the middle chapter of the King James Bible. There's 1,189 chapters, and Psalm 117 is the middle chapter. It's also the shortest chapter in this version of the Bible. Now, I had forgot about this. I made videos a long time ago about something to do with I was at Walmart. I can't even remember. And I had read something where it was actually 1188, but that was wrong. But then I went to Walmart, and my total was like, I don't even know, 1188. I can't remember what it was. But what's interesting about this, and I was messing around the other day with the Hebrew calendar to the Gregorian calendar, and I typed in, and I just never put it together until right now. I typed in just 4949 for the year. And 4949 on the Hebrew calendar converts to the Gregorian date of 1189. So 4949, and then there's 189 chapters in the James Bible, and that's what it converts to on the Gregorian calendar. And heck, while we're on the whole old wrestler thing here, I just out of the blue thought of this. Man McFoley, but it was also Dude Love, I remember from years ago. So I looked up McFoley, and literally, so it has to do with the love. Look, he's 49 years old, born on 6/7, so there's your 67. 7, so the 158th day of the, which breaks down to 79, which is the 22nd prime number, so it's 22 and 22. Interesting. And here it shows his ring names right here, just that he was Dude Love. So then here's Triple H's hand, so they respect each other, and they don't hate each other, so they're kind of working together the way I get it. They're not really working together, but they're going hand in hand and respect each other for what they do or whatever. So I guess nobody loses really. It's kind of funny. Just wanted to point it out though. They actually do shake hands and whatnot. They don't do that in any other matches. So. And see, after Hunter or Triple H and DX start walking away, then the NWO lifts his hand up or whatever, and everyone screams or whatever. So in a way, they still won. That's the whole point of it all. Is that it doesn't matter. Like they can be knocked down, but they won't ever be defeated. It's just so subliminal. And then it comes to a little short concert here, and it has Travis Barker and Kid Ink, and then I'll show you here. I don't know who it is. So, Travis Barker from Blink-182, but Travis Barker was born on November 14th, so that gives you your 44, right? So, if you don't think that is this crap, he almost died in a plane crash too and all this other whatever, because he the band and says the aliens are real or something. I don't know. Something like that. I would look that much into it. But anyway, Travis Barker is also in a band called Plus 44. So for birthday, why is he in a band called Plus 44 or a hip hop whatever collab? This is ridiculous. Plus 44, and it says that it's the code or whatever in the UK that you have to use. That's what the Plus 44 is supposed to be after. But that's just a bunch of crap. I mean, there's no way. So whatever, just wanted to point that out. I could go in depth with all these people, I'm just not going to. And this is the girl who's singing, Skylar Grey. And by the way, she's singing something about like the Phoenix, we will rise, or something like that. I'm not even going to look into this song. This video is going to be so long, it's ridiculous. But look when she was born. 2/23, or 322 backwards, 54th day of the year. That's love. And then the rapper guy or whatever, Kid Ink, and literally, so he's born on April Fool's, for one, which is significant because that's why the 88th day of the year is the crucifixion of Jesus, because April 1st, that's why they call it April Fool's. But because they're fooling you that it's this day or whatever. But anyway, the album that just released on February 3rd, so 2015, called Full Speed. Okay, and I mean, if it's not bad enough, he's doing like the double V. Honestly, I don't know what he's doing with his hands here. He's doing something crazy. I mean, 22. I don't know if this is a V2 or, but he's got the triangle here. Then it's just crazy. But what I really wanted to point out, I didn't even really notice that until now, but look what label it was on. 88 Classic is one of them. 88. Why 88? I mean, come on. It's so in your face. I don't know how people just keep thinking I'm crazy. Like, whatever. Moving on. And I almost forgot the Divas match. It was AJ Lee. It was a tag team or whatever. AJ Lee. She won with Paige or whatever, but March 19th is the first game that Michael Jordan came back when he retired. And we'll click on Paige. They also beat twins, and one of the Bella twins is actually Brie, which is BB88. So kind of weird that they beat the 8. But the girl who won, and then her tag team partner is Paige. And Paige was born August 17th, 1990, so she's 22 years old. And August 17th is actually August 4th, which is Obama's birthday. And they would have won, honestly, as BB. She even had like the 88 Bieber belt or whatever. But anyway, they really are twins, and they're 31 years old, and it's WrestleMania 31. So I mean, I don't know, weird. I don't know. Must have been doing something different. I mean, since they're twins, it could be some kind of mockers or something, but who knows. Anyway, okay, so basically Rusev, or however you say it, he's a Russian who hates America, and he's wrestling John. John Cena is like, you can't talk about my country, blah, 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 or whatever. And then right before Cena comes up, they do this clip here, and they show a bunch of like American like pics, but I just want to point out a few things about it. Anyway, I'm just going to turn the volume off, so hopefully I don't get copyright, and play the clip here. Okay, well, with the whole NASCAR thing, I've been told Reagan a whole bunch. But what's interesting about it is I've been talking California, 49, and all that, and was the 33rd of all numbers, third governor of California, 45 even. What about that? And now they show a broken Golden Gate Bridge. I mean, I know it's in San Francisco, but why are they shit like this? You know, they had it blowing up before, and now they're showing it not even fully built. Oh, Michael Jordan. They got Steve Jobs and the Zuckerberg from Facebook, and then Michael Jordan. And then they show the John Deere green tractor, the 49. Then they showed JFK, and I have a whole video on it, on his death day, and a book about time travel and all the stuff. He was also born on May 29th, which is the 149th day of the year, and the 149th prime number, or 149, sorry, is the 35th prime number. Interestingly, JFK was the 35th president. He also died the same year Michael Jordan was born. And JFK adds to 27, so I don't know. It's a 27 year. Okay, well, there's just so many things that I can't stop and talk about everything. So I'm just going to literally just play it without explaining a bunch of stuff. I mean, if you want, you can look up Martin Luther King, April 4th. I mean, there was FDR was in there. Coming up, they have a 23 right here. Okay, well, it's over. There was a whole bunch of stuff in there. I do want to point out, though, the only president who died at age 88 was Harry S. Truman. So he's the only president to die at age 88. He was the 33rd president, and he was the president in 1945 and also in 19 49. So 49, 45, and he dies at age 88. Also, it says that he oversaw the Berlin airlift of 1948 and the creation of NATO in 1949. Even better about NATO is that it was signed on April 4th, 1949. 4449. 44 is 49 days after Valentine's Day. So this year will be the 66th anniversary of it. So, of course, Cena beats him and gets the title or whatever. But I'm going to move on now. So then right here, Triple H and Stephanie McMahon come back out, and she talks about the new attendance record that I showed a long time ago. And but anyway, she talks about when she was 8 years old and went to Wrestlemania 1 in 1976. And then, whatever, they start talking crap about the fans and whatnot, how they own everybody. And then The Rock comes out because he's the people's champ or whatever. Or actually, I guess, maybe she doesn't say the year. She's born in 76. But she does say she was 8 years old. But she was born on September 24th, which actually is also the same as September 11th, and 1976. And she's actually, in real life, married to Triple H, but her dad is the one who started the WWE and all that, Vince McMahon. And he was born in 1945. Or, I mean, I guess I said he invented it, but he didn't invent it, but he was like he ran it all, basically. He's like the big head honcho in the WWE at least. So, whatever, born 1945. So, The Rock comes out, and whatever, I guess he's actually from the San Francisco Bay Area, and he's, whatever, yelling at them. And then he says something about, he quotes a Tony Bennett song or whatever, he left his heart in San Francisco. And look at the song, I left my heart in San Francisco. It was actually by a few other people, but is best known as the signature song of Tony Bennett. And the single came out, or the song came out, February 2nd, 1962, so 2 of 1962. It says the song was released as the B-side to Once Upon a Time. It peaked at number 19 on the Billboard Hot 100. Well, number 19. Not only is 19 the 8th prime number, the 19th prime number is 67, which I talked about with Bill Murray being stood by 22, and he talked 19 and 67. And it just dawned on me too. So the 19th prime is 67, so 1967, and Bill Murray on Ghostbusters, and they talk about the world on Valentine's 2016, and 1967 will be 45 years away from 2016. Kind of interesting. Anyway, just wanted to put two. Tony Bennett's been talked about by a lot of people. Or I know Enter the Stars did a video on Tony Bennett and The Simpsons or something. Can't remember for sure, but anyway, Tony Bennett is 88 years old. Even funnier, this song, it says, it's often been performed in public by Bennett in concert as well as on special occasions, most notably in the final National Football League game at KJV Stadium featuring the San Francisco 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys in the 1970 NFC Championship game. So, the 1970 NFC Championship game, which was 45 years ago. Alright, and then Undertaker fights this guy, Bray Wyatt. And if my computer will load here. Bray Wyatt was born on May 23rd. There's 222 days left. It's the Hermes Trismegistus Day. I've talked about it multiple times a long time ago. I'm trying to shorten this up, so not going into detail. The Undertaker also, remember, was 45 and 54 and 117, and he won, and his record is now 22 and 1, so 22. Also, 221 is the 52nd day, and it's all about Michael Jordan and Space Jam that I've been talking about, and Valentine's. So Michael Jordan is 52 years old this year. And not that significant, but Undertaker did just turn days before that match. So he was 9 years old 5 days before that match. Okay, well, my computer's getting really slow and I can't get the video to load anymore. But I can just talk about it. Basically, the last match was Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. So just kind of funny. The whole match, they're talking about how this guy's in the wrong generation. Brock Lesnar was just beating him up or whatever, and they're talking about how he's in the wrong generation. If he was in a previous generation, he would have ruled or whatever. Well, his name is Roman Reigns, like the fall of Rome. So their announcers are just basically saying, like the reign of Rome is over or whatever. I don't know. It's pretty funny the way they're saying it. I guess you have to watch it, but I couldn't show sound anyway without getting copyright. But anyway, the guy who he was fighting was Brock Lesnar. And I guess there was one thing I wish I could show in the video was it says that he's been the world heavyweight champion for 223 days and counting. So 223 or 322. He is born in 77, so he is 37 years old. It says here, on April 2nd, 2012, Lesnar returned to the WWE after an 8-year hiatus. And then on April 6th, he defeated The Undertaker to end The Undertaker's streak of never losing at WrestleMania. So he was 21 and 1 last year. And it's funny that he became the World Heavyweight Champion, so 223 days before the 88th day of the year. It was August 17th when he defeated John Cena. That's pretty funny because August 17th on the Julian calendar is August 4th. So literally 88 days after Obama's birthday, or not 88, 223 days after Obama's birthday is the 88th day of the year. Huh. And another interesting thing is that August 4th is actually the 216th day of the year. 6 times 6 times 6 is 200, or did I say 14th? 216th day of the year. I might have said 14th. And 6 times 6 times 6 is 216. And then, like I said, this guy came in with the Money in the Bank, and he beat them both or whatever. So he won the title or whatever, and he's now the World Heavyweight Champion. I don't know what happened on Raw, so maybe he wrestled again or something and lost. I don't know, but he won on WrestleMania, and it's interesting. He is born on May 28th. And May 28th, there are 217 days remaining until the end of the year. And Michael Jordan was born on 2/17. And he becomes the World Heavyweight Champion. That's why it's significant, because he's the winner of the main event, And like I said, his name actually adds up to the same as Valentine's Day adds up to 151. And his name even adds up to 52, the age of Michael Jordan. Well, anyway, I'm just going to leave it at that. There's so many things I could have went more in depth with and whatnot. And hopefully it all makes sense to you guys. I mean, it's just a crazy... WrestleMania is just so, subliminal. There's just so many things. And I'm sorry that I made such a long video, but it's the only way to do it. My computer is terrible, and it freezes up all the time. It takes me forever to do these. So, yeah, anyway, I got to quit talking, because otherwise it's going to be 3 hours long. But anyway, have a great night.